Hi, this is James Zhang with Full Capital, and we have Lisa Landry here with Landry Designs. Lisa, thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me.
We're having people give just sort of a update on yourself or just introduction, I guess you should say, for people who don't know you, and then talk about Landry Designs.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, James. It's always great to talk to you. Just a little bit about Landry Designs. I started the company about 25 years ago now and started with just residential and commercial properties. And about 15 years ago, someone reached out to us, a property management company that had a lot of properties that needed renovations done in a 1 year period. And so we did 10 properties in that one first year for them. And that was the first time we'd ever done multifamily designing. And what we're really famous for now is multifamily renovations, design renovations across the country. And our specialty is how can we add value to interior design or through interior design to multifamily projects across the country. So we've kind of evolved into that. So this started about 15 years ago, and we worked with him on these 10 projects, completely did all these renovations and makeovers, and the properties just kind of blew up. They just did so great. And that got us really interested. So for the next 10 years, we just kept doing more and more and more multifamily projects. And then about 5 years ago, I got really interested in investing in multifamily and started investing also. And that gave me a really unique perspective behind the scenes of what it's like from the other side, not just being on the design side of things. And then a few years ago, I became a multifamily owner on my own, a GP on some properties. And that gave me even more insight into, how important the occupancy is, how important the NOI is, how you can move all these levers with different things, and how can we apply design skills to really boost the value fast of a property. And so that's what we're really known for now is adding value to multifamily properties across the country. We've started taking on projects in other states because people buy in all different kinds of states. They might start in the DFW area of Texas, which is where we are, but then they keep buying in other areas and we just go wherever they are. So that's kind of how it's evolved.
That is a very good introduction.
Thank
Uh,
you.
the So talk about when you went from being an LP to a GP. Uh, what were some of the maybe lessons learned or differences you saw? Because as an LP, you're sitting there and you're sort of getting monthly reports and you're thinking, okay, like, why isn't this project done? Like, I thought you said it was going to be done last month, and now I'm getting another update, and it's still not done. So now that you're on the
Yeah.
GP side, maybe you understand that a little bit more and talk through some of the lessons that you learned being on the GP for
Yeah.
now a couple years.
on that on that deal that I was an LP on, we ended up decorating that property also because I was seeing things that I just didn't think were going to get any better. Like, how do you increase occupancy if the leasing office still looks like that, or the website still looks like that, or the model unit still looks like that, or the exterior still looks like that? How are you going to boost something if you're not, changing anything, So we got very involved in that one, and we actually did decorate that property, and then it increased, and then they sold it. And so that was a great lesson there. I did learn from that what those monthly reports say and what investors are looking at. What numbers are they seeing? What terms are they seeing? I didn't really know any of those, the terminology of multifamily from the financial side, from an investor side. So that was a great learning experience. And then when, I became a GP, what I felt like I really brought to the table was that during all these years, these 15 years of us working on properties, we're on site on these properties when the owners are not. And so we see things behind the scenes that owners never really see, how things are really operating. Like when an owner is going to come or the regional is going to come, excuse me, they're going to really make everything perfect, and they're going to be on their best behavior. But when we're there, we might be there all day measuring or taking pictures or working on a project. They just sort of forget we're there. And we really hear, how do, people get greeted when they come in? What does the property look, smell, sound like, at all times? So we're able to share that information with owners not to get anybody in trouble, but to really make sure the property gets elevated if you're trying to elevate the tenant base. So I think all those things kind of came together into this package where now we see, oh, this is what it's like if you're an investor. This is what it's like if you're an owner. This is what it's like from the interior design side. This is what it's like if you're a tenant. This is what it's like if you're a vendor. This is what it's like if you work there for the property management company. That's a huge thing too, is what we find with design is the people that work there, they love that environment when it's fresh and new. It
It's
makes
their
them want to come
office.
to work. Yeah, they're there 8 or 9 or 10 hours a
Yeah.
day. So
Yeah.
it's a big part of their life and it can really affect their mood, which also can affect them being confident with raising rents. When they see that the property is being elevated, they're proud of their property. They don't want to go, be stolen away to another property. They have that pride of, ownership of their property. So that's kind of an added bonus is the retention, the employee retention, stays, gets
So
higher.
so we're not as good as HGTV, but we're gonna try to do a little HGTV. So I think you have a couple slides of
I do.
maybe some
Oh, go ahead.
examples of before and after,
Yep.
as much as possible.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Let me
let's
share.
see some of the slides and
Yeah, I'll just share this one. This is just a good example. Let me go into slideshow mode real quick. This is
okay.
just a good example of what things look like when we start a lot of times. The flooring was all worn out and the furnishings. What we find in many cases is that maybe the on-site manager or the regional has gone and tried to buy some things at a local store and just puts them in there
Yeah.
and picks some paint colors. And that's what it looks like is DIY. It just does not have
It's
the,
like leasing off it. Yeah, the leasing manager, like 2 years ago, thought the red looked good, and then the new guy, it got scratched from the
yes.
paint, so we've got to repaint it. All right, put some blue in there and some.
Yeah. And sometimes it's maybe the wife of a GP or something. And I'm not
Yeah,
saying that they can't be good at it, but typically it doesn't have that high-end look. What
right,
we specialize in is B and C class properties. These are value add properties. We're trying to add value to older properties that don't look that great. We still want it to look like a model home when people come in.
right.
These people that live in apartments would love to have a home of their own, and they go to model homes a lot. So how can we make it look really dramatic, really memorable if they're looking at multiple properties during the day? So this is just an example of not a high-end, makeover. This is a C-class property, actually, but it looks high-end, and it's not, a super expensive things to do. We love that red wall being a feature wall of some sort, but we had their contractor add the wood to it. So what we really do is sell all the furnishings that go in the space. We
Okay.
pick all the paint colors. We work with their contractor. We assist with exterior paint colors and renderings, rebranding, all those different things that you might need. We try to be one-stop shopping for multifamily owners and property management companies. This is another example of a leasing office that just was not set up correctly. What's the first impression when you come in? The door's right here on the far left. We want it to be the lounge when you come in, not the desk. So what's that first thing they see? Instead of a cluttered desk, it's going to be a cool lounge. That's that, 3 seconds that you have to make that first impression. And then offsetting where they just have to turn slightly to the left and there's the leasing agent. We always talk, to the owners about having their staff stand up and greet anyone who comes in the door. It's those little things, that make a difference, make it memorable.
Go
Here's another.
go back for a second
Okay.
to the last slide. I don't know how many offices I've seen like the top left. Like it's like
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's
I mean
normal.
it's so many offices are like every 19 like so many 1980s properties is just yeah, it just makes such a huge
Right.
difference and you don't even have to tell me how the top left smells. I can
Yes.
smell it through
Yes. And hear the echo. Like when you come into these spaces that don't have a lot of furnishings,
yeah,
it's real echoey. So adding the rug, the big rug here, adding upholstery, like a big sofa here, upholstery, 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 all those types of things help absorb sound so it feels more like a home when you walk in.
like
And for
softens
working
it.
in that
Yeah.
environment, it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
nicer, too.
Okay. All
Here's
right.
another one. We see this all the time where people just go to a furniture store and buy some furniture and just stick it in there, and just being thoughtful about it. Uh, if you can get your occupancy up because the leasing office looks so great, or maybe your model looks so great, that investment that you make at the beginning when you're trying to kickstart this property and get that occupancy up is paid for in no time, when you start getting that occupancy up. So we feel like it's very important. Here's another one. Lots of times people need a little bit of renovation work. We don't do construction work. We work with the contractors that the property uses.
Okay.
And we can always refer people to, but we're selling all the furnishings and selecting all the pieces and this highlighting architecture of the tiny little fireplace that was here is a small thing, but it makes a big difference when you walk in. The other thing we look at a lot of times is mid-level lighting, these lamps here in the middle that are floor lamps, and then you have the chandeliers, and then you have recessed lighting also. But this mid-level, which is the floor lamps, is what makes the space feel inviting.
I think you taught me that last time.
Yeah.
The middle I don't think I had ever heard anything about lighting except the mid-level.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
And then
Yeah.
same thing here. We always put mid-level because overhead lighting casts shadows on your face.
Yeah.
Makes you look older and tired and that kind of thing. So this was the before of this space. It did have a little bit of a renovation, adding a bar to it. But, it depends on the tenant base. We're always looking at what is the plan? What are your goals? What are you trying to do? How long are you going to hold? What is the, demographics of the area and what are you trying to get it to be? We really look at that because we're trying to determine style and colors. That's super important. Also, what is the image of the property that you want it to be? So if the brick is red on the building and you're not painting it because it's too expensive, we need to make sure we integrate that into the image and branding of that property. And we choose a color palette that's good with that instead of just picking something, willy-nilly.
I
This is
don't know
another
if
one.
you have it in this deck, but
Uh-huh.
for fountains, did
Yep.
you I feel like you sort of redid that whole uh property. Do you have a slide on that one? Or because I feel
That was
like
the least.
it just you've got to it's like someone drives in and they see the sign and the sign matches like the leasing office, and then you
Yes.
walk the property and then the signage around the property matches,
Yes.
like it's
That's rebranding. And
yeah,
we
yeah,
work
yeah.
with people on that all the time because we feel like that's the first thing you need to decide. Are you changing the name or not?
Right,
If you don't need to change the name, you're good with the name. Maybe there's good Google reviews and that kind of thing, then that's fine.
right,
But you might need to change the logo and the branding. And that's what we did with Fountains of Jupiter is
right,
went ahead and kept the name, but because there's fountains around the property and it's on Jupiter,
right,
but we rebranded with new logo, new colors, and then take that color palette and run it all the way through, including amenities across the property.
right. Okay.
This is just another one. This is an older, like an older resident property. And
Okay.
so adding more traditional elements to it. And so that's why I'm saying we really customize each property based on, what the goals are for the property and who the tenant base is.
Do
Here's
you
another
have so
one.
your leasing office and then you said the model,
Uh-huh.
do you have any
Model
model?
units.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like fitness centers, we do these all the time as well. That can make a big difference as one of the amenities. I'll just keep going. There's some other models back here.
On fitness centers, are you just doing like a more accent wall or what's
We do
usually
art, we do art, we do carpet, we do paint colors, we do lighting, cool, dramatic chandeliers. Sometimes it depends on how high the ceilings are. We're not doing the fitness equipment,
right?
but everything else in the space.
Okay.
Here's some model units just so you can see.
Oh,
This
here I
is
guess. Yeah.
one. Yeah. So a lot of times we have these fur downs and we like taking them out, recommending to take them out if you're trying to elevate the property. Uh, these were like white shelves that we recommended taking out. They were just wood painted and doing stained shelves instead. This was a very inexpensive change to make. The fur down was not expensive to remove either, but man, it makes a big difference, in the way the unit feels. We try to get away from carpet except in the bedrooms. So doing hard surface throughout, that's going to look a lot more like a model home, fresh and new. and then carpet in the bedrooms for budget savings and sound absorption.
And then taking pictures of it, professional pictures of it.
Yes.
I mean, I guess that's probably one of the harder things is just obviously everyone looking at these two pictures is like, yes, I want the after. But it's hard sometimes to give people like a number, like in terms of,
You
all
mean a
right,
budget number?
no, not a budget number, but just like, okay, if I spend 30,000 on this model,
Oh,
right,
right.
with furniture and upgrading it, all this other stuff, um, like how to like put a
The
number.
ROI.
Yeah, the ROI on that. Like obviously you can see if I spend 10,000 on a unit and then I lease it and it's $100 more, my value went up by X amount. But on a
Right.
model, it's a little bit harder because I see like a lot of models, I see like the one on the left, like that,
Yes.
like there would be furniture in there, right? But
Right.
it's essentially like, all right, this is what you have.
Right.
Um,
Well,
but any
I think
ideas
the
on
way
that?
to yeah, I think the way to track it is to watch the occupancy and watch the
Yeah,
NOI afterwards. You know, when we work on these properties, as soon as the project is finished, we're either getting it professionally photographed or maybe they already are for something else. So
right.
we follow up on that and make sure that that professional photography gets done and then that gets uploaded on the website. And that's the step that people miss sometimes. They still
Yeah,
have old images on the website. I
right.
was on a property the other day and there's still a bunch of old stuff on there. The new stuff's on there too, but the old stuff's on there, which
Still
should have
on
been
there. Yeah,
updated.
we don't know
Yeah,
which property it is. Is it the new
yeah, you
the
gotta, so we've actually follow up on that. That's part of our checklist to make sure that, you know, everything gets elevated. And so when a prospective resident goes on your website, which they always do before they go and look at properties, it needs to look amazing. So it's
Right,
not just being there in person, which is super important too. It's what does it look like on your website? What's your image? What's that, you know, going to capture? What's that thing that's going to capture them to come look at your property when they could go look at 5 or 10 other ones?
right. Um, and then in terms of so we got the leasing office model. Um, are
Yep.
you and then I guess the overall exterior. Do you have any exteriors in here or like the paint
Yeah, let me
schemes that
look.
you've
This is the
done
pool.
maybe?
These are pool areas.
Okay.
And I think there's an exterior one just beyond that we'll look at in this slide deck. But pool areas we assist with all the time. Like what could be done here? This they just asked us for pool furniture in this case, but we
Okay.
ended up assisting with them selecting new tile
Tell.
surround.
Okay.
What's the color of the water going to be? You know, what's
Yeah.
the trim? All these different kinds of things. And in this case, they had this really plain. This was
Yeah.
just a
I like that
concrete
wall.
wall.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so we recommended doing a mural here, which separates them from other properties and really looks good on the website. And then doing all the new furniture, we provide all the furniture. We helped with this arbor. How big is it going to be? What color is it going to be? What do the trash cans look like? What does the grill look like? Every one of those decisions, we feel like you should have a designer involved because you're spending money. So why not make it be the right dollar that you're, you know,
Right.
spending and just don't make mistakes with it. So pools are a big thing. Here's another one. We prefer color, lots of color and drama around the pool. No beige chase lounges that you went and bought at Home Depot. You
Yeah.
know, it just doesn't look good. Here's another one. These are unit interiors. We also assist with this when people are doing unit interiors. We create packages for them through their vendors. And
Okay.
they might want to have a silver package, a gold package, a platinum package, and test it and see how much higher rents they can get on those different unit, you know, turns that they do. So we assist with that all the time.
So is
Here's
that
some
more
exterior
like
things.
the fixtures in the
It would
property?
be everything. We
Okay.
would select this tile, we would select this faucet, we would
Okay.
select
Okay.
this paint color, this the cabinet doors, which refrigerator colors, what's the light fixture in there look like? What's the flooring? Everything in a unit interior. What is this mirror? What does this towel ring look like? Do we have a robe hook here? Every little thing we assist with when we're doing a unit interior package. And they might just want one, but some people want two and some people want three so they can test it.
Is I've never heard that word robe hook.
Oh,
Yeah,
this, the robe hook?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Is
that's a
it
great.
different than a towel hook? or is it
It
a
is. It is. It's
okay.
called a robe hook because you can hang a robe on it,
Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
a lot of people like to have their robe right there, in their
When
bathroom.
they come out.
But
Yeah,
we
yeah.
like it. We like it for towels
Yeah,
because they don't pull those towel bars off the wall that way. You know what I
yeah, yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
units,
yeah.
you'll see those get pulled
Just fall
out.
off. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So
it
that's
just keeps it nice and clean looking to use
yeah.
a robe hook for them to hang their towels on even. And sometimes we'll do one high and one low. Just depends on the property.
And I don't
And then
I
next,
I don't know if you've
what?
looked at this, but maybe we talked about it just the on Airbnbs, how on the interior design, like I don't know how many I've been to where there's none. There's no rope hook, there's no towel rack, there's no
I
anything.
know.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
you
so
just
bad.
yeah, yeah.
And
So
the lamp on your nightstand, if there is a lamp, is about 12 inches tall. Like, what good is that going to do?
yeah, you're not gonna see
How are you
much.
supposed to
Yeah.
read or do anything? It's all those little things that you can tell it was a DIY
Right.
project.
Yeah.
Uh, this is an exterior paint rendering just to show you an
Okay. Yeah.
example of one that, people want to know, how's it going to look? What color should we use? And we might
Before I
do
spend a
two or
hundred thousand
three.
dollars or 200,000
Yes,
painting this whole
yes.
thing.
We might
Yeah.
do two or three options and then explain the pros and cons and talk about the demographics and what are the properties around you? What do they look like? We don't want to do the same. We want to
Right.
stand out, so that type of thing. Here's another one. This was a C minus property.
Okay.
This is option one. This was option two
Okay.
for a property to repaint.
Is there any new, like, what is the 2024 edition of painting everything white? Like in 21 and 22, everything went white. Like
Are you
every
talking about exterior brick
yeah,
and that kind of
exterior
thing?
paint, like
Yeah,
everybody went super white on everything.
like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, this actually has more accents with the door and everything, but like,
yes.
yeah, a lot of people painted everything white just, I guess, to get
It
away from brick.
depends.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it really depends on the property. I definitely don't like gray because I feel like it looks like a military base
okay, so
then.
it's a little bit older. Yeah, okay,
Yeah, it really just depends on the property.
okay.
Um,
You're trying to
I mean,
accent something or
yeah, we want to add
work with
color and
what?
high contrast, and we
Okay,
don't want to look like the property next door or the
okay,
property across the street. So we're real just cautious there about what we do.
okay.
And
Yeah,
sometimes different buildings can be different, a little bit different themes, kind of alternating themes or that type of thing if it's a larger property.
okay,
Then we talked about branding a little bit. We assist with what should the name possibly be if they're going to change it? What should the logo look like? We do logo creation, all of that kind of thing as well. And then making sure we take that and run with it throughout the property. And then making sure it gets onto the website, like we mentioned. So, and then we just, we talk at length about people's properties and their own project and make sure that we're really customizing it to that team, that area, their goals, all those kinds of things.
well, thank you very much for sharing the deck. And I think there's a lot of there's so much potential in a lot of these properties, and it's just really like picking and choosing sort of the highest value thing because a lot of times the property management company might be good at putting together the reports and fixing maintenance issues and stuff like that. But then if you also put on them, oh yeah, we're doing, we've got 100,000 for the leasing office and the model. What do you guys think? And they're just not professionals in that space. And so bringing someone in
Right.
who has done, I don't know how many you guys have done, hundreds of leasing
Hundreds. Yeah,
offices
hundreds.
and model units and just being ready to go. It's
Yeah,
just a lot
I
easier.
had a
Yeah.
regional guy, a regional property manager, call me this morning actually, and we worked on projects together in the DFW area. Now he's moved to San Antonio, and he's like, Lisa, they have not been using a designer. They've just been kind of doing it on their own. And he's like, it is so bad. It's just so
Yeah.
bad. They're spending all this money and it's still not good, And
Yeah,
he
yeah,
said,
that's even
I
worse,
need you to
right?
come.
Yeah, that's even worse, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like spending the money and it still doesn't look good, right? So,
And I
um,
think priorities, you had asked me about priorities previously, and I think the image is number one. What
right.
what what do you want this to be? What is the goal of this property?
Yeah.
What is the image and the customer service going to look like and the maintenance like you're talking about. And, those are all the basics of a property that the property management company is typically taking care of.
Right.
But this branding, the logo color and the website, and then coming into the leasing office is like the very number one thing we always recommend. That's their first impression. That's where your staff is, making sure people can find it easily, that the directional signage is good, that exterior, what that looks like, what it looks like as soon as you walk in, we always say is number one. And then number two would really be exterior. What does the exterior of the property look like?
Right.
Does it need refresh? Does it need an accent paint? Does it need some trees removed? Whatever. And then kind of the third one is the model unit. We usually go straight into that next. And then fourth would be the amenities. So
Amenities.
pool, bark park, any other grill stations, all that kind of thing.
Okay, perfect. Well, Lisa, thank you for the update and the information on different avenues people have to improve the value of their property and cash flow and occupancy across the board. So you're going to be at the conference in October, the Old Capital Conference coming up here in October. So we look forward to seeing you there. But in the meantime, what is the best way for people to reach out to you if they have a project that they want you to work on now?
Yeah, I think the best thing is to send us an email
Okay.
or call the office. So the email is hello@Landry Designs, LandryDesigns.com, or the office is 817-835-3100. And that's where we can go ahead and get you matched up with someone to get your introductory Zoom call so that we can learn more about each other and see how we can help.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you very much for coming on today.
I'm excited. I'm excited about the conference. Can't wait.
All right, thanks a lot. I'll see you then.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.